Hello Year 5, it's Tuesday and it is our second reading lesson of the week. We are going to continue with the skill of retrieval. So yesterday, if you remember, we started looking at this book Space, and in particular we were looking at the double page about our solar system. Now we're going to continue with this page and we're going to look at the skill of retrieval in a little bit more depth. And we've already mentioned it yesterday. We're going to have a go today and try and answer a few questions. I will zoom in on the text using the smart screens and hopefully you should be able to see. But please let me know through the emails if you are struggling with that and I'll see if I can figure out a different way to do it. But anyway, here is over to the questions. So let's have a go. Okay, so let's begin session 2 then. We're going to probably get into our retrieval skills this time. So yesterday I left you with the question, years ago, why might people have thought the sun travelled around the earth? And a few of you emailed in with some suggestions, and the popular opinion seemed to be that people thought that it was the earth that remained still, and as you look at the position of the sun through the day, it appears to go from one direction to another. So you see the sun moving across the sky. So the obvious conclusion based on those observations was that the fact it was the sun going around the earth, until it wasn't until later on that they worked out actually it was the other way around, and in fact the earth is spinning, which made it appear like the sun was moving in the night sky and in the day sky, I suppose, but in fact it was the earth spinning around as well. But well done those people that looked into that. That is fantastic research, thank you. Right, so when we are scanning, so this is what we need to do when we're trying to retrieve information. We're glancing quickly over a text to find keywords. So we don't want to be reading everything. It's about sort of cutting to the key information. So what I'd like normally do, a game that we do, and this might be a game you could play at home with a different text, is I'd call out a word, and then you basically scan the text and then put your finger on it as quick as you can. Kind of hard to do this at the moment because I don't think I can make the text clear enough. We could try. So here's the text. So if I just try it with one word, mysterious, and then we'll be looking across the text. So rather than trying to read every single sentence, I am looking for the word mysterious, looking for the shape of the word, looking for a word beginning with M, as fast as I can. If it was a name that we're looking for, I'd be looking for a capital letter to speed it up. Or if it was a number, so it might be a year, for example, I'm scanning that text, looking for a particular number. These are all just ways to speed that up. Now I've noticed, whilst I've been talking, I've been scanning, and I wonder if anyone else has, but the word mysterious is in fact down here. I know I've not read any of that text to find that word. I've just been going up and down and across until I've spotted the word mysterious. If we do another word, obviously pause the video if you are able to zoom in and continue to look. So the word is billion. So this time I'm looking, things I'll be looking for is like the double L might jump out at you, if not the B of billion. Now I've spotted it. So pause it right now because I'm about to show it if you are still looking, if you are able to see it. But the word billion is there. In fact, it's here a couple of times, there and there. We'll do one more. Okay, even though I did say that a second ago. So let's have, we've got egg, dazzling, plummets. Let's go dazzling. The double Z might be easy to scan for. So can you see dazzling? Dazzling makes me think of something bright. So where is something bright going to be in this text? Scanning, scanning, scanning. Can you spot it before I do? Keep looking for dazzling. Looking for those two Z's. Pause it if you want to, so you can find it that way. I haven't found it yet. Right, I've got it, but I'm not going to highlight it this time. I wonder if you're able to see the screen, can tell me in your next email. I'll give you a clue. It's somewhere in this part of the text, but I won't say any more than that for now. Right. We'll repeat the tricky words, but I'll do this quite quickly. So we've got outermost, nuclear, poisonous, and luminous. For those at home, we tend to repeat the same words so we can become more and more fluent and confident with them rather than doing too many words across a week through this way. Occasionally, remember the root word, and then the spelling was occasion, sorry, and the spelling rule for atmosphere was that PH to make the F sound rather than the letter F. Okay, neighborhood, 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 gravity, 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 orbit, 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 outermost, 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 atmosphere, 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 atmosphere. Okay, now let's get on to the retrieval properly. So here's an example of a retrieval question. How many moons does Jupiter have? So before I jump into trying to find that information, there's some clues in the question straight away to help us with our retrieval. So keywords. Okay, I want to be looking for the word Jupiter and the word moons. So straight away I'm cutting out a lot of the text to get me to the information that I am looking for. So if I go to the text, here is Jupiter. I get my magic pen just so I can highlight it a bit easier. Okay, across, down, and across. There's Jupiter. So how many moons? It's asking me a number. So straight away I can skim across the text and I can see it there. Jupiter has 16 moons. There it is. Nice and quick. Okay. How many moons does Jupiter have? The answer is, how many moons needs a number? 16. That's how we retrieve information. So that is an example. So let's have a look at another one. How fast are the winds on Neptune? So keywords. This time, what do you think they are? I've not put them in this time because this is our turn rather than me telling you. What are the keywords? I can imagine you're at home and you quite clearly go, Mr. Fullpots, Neptune is a keyword and winds is a keyword. Okay, and we're looking for a speed because it says how fast. Right, so let's go to the next, back to that bit. We can cut out most of this information straight away because we're retrieving and I don't need it all. Still got my magic pen. There is Neptune. Oh, I may have gone a bit too close to the box there. Okay, here we go. The winds, straight away at the top, are the fastest in the solar system. Here's the speed, 1,240 miles per hour. So the only thing we would want in our answer for a question like that, I don't need to say the winds are, I can just say 1,240 miles per hour. There it is. Okay. Now, what does Uranus look like? So, keyword this time is clearly the name of the planet. So let's go to the text again. What does Uranus look like? And there is Uranus. Just zoom in on Uranus. Okay, there it is. Look like, it was a word in the question, so it jumps out at me there. Uranus looks like a billiard ball. Okay, simile as well, just of interest. So what does Uranus look like? Hopefully you've also realised the keyword is Uranus and it looks like, if I put it there? Yes, there it is, a billiard ball. Lovely. So again, looking for words in the question to find them in the text, skimming and scanning in order to do that. Right, now we're going to move on to the next part of our cosmic book. Well done so far on your work with retrieval. We're going to go back to our text Cosmic now. Now this chapter is somewhat longer than the first two, this one called My Favourite Gravity. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read half of it today and then the second half of the chapter will be at the end of tomorrow's lesson. Okay, hopefully it won't be too much of a cliffhanger, because I know how frustrating that can be, but we shall see. So here we go. My favourite gravity. I don't think the world has vanished, but it is worrying not being able to see it. After all, Earth is where I keep all my stuff. Thinking about all my favourite bits, my mom, my dad, my bedroom, my computer, makes me feel a bit calmer. There's my massive Playmobil Viking ship that takes up half the floor, or used to take up half the floor. I put it back in its box the day I discovered I'd grown facial hair. I just thought that anyone with a beard, even just a wispy one, is probably too old for Playmobil. I say I discovered the facial hair. To be honest, I never noticed it because we've got energy-saving light bulbs in the bathroom. It was other people who pointed it out to me during the Year 6 Leavers outing to Enchantment Land. The most famous ride in Enchantment Land is the Cosmic. All the way there on the coach, everyone kept on about how big it was and how scary. Everyone had a brother or a cousin who'd been on it and never been the same again. In case you don't know, the Cosmic is a kind of metal cage with 2 seats in. It's attached to the top of a massive crane by kind of big elastic bands. They pull the cage down to the ground with a chain and fasten it with an electromagnet. You sit inside and then they switch off the magnet. The elastic catapults you into the air and then snaps you back towards the ground again. Then you bounce up and down for a while. It's only frightening for about 10 seconds, but for those 10 seconds, it is so frightening that Ben's cousin's hair supposedly turned completely white. And it goes so fast that Joe's next door neighbour's stomach came loose and ended up stuck in his own neck, and he had to have an operation. Apparently he'll show you the stitches if you ask him. Despite these obvious drawbacks, everyone said they were going to go on it, until we got there and discovered there was a height requirement, namely a wooden Martian holding his arm straight out, and a speech bubble that said, "If you can walk under my arm, you can't take the Cosmic." Everyone could easily walk under the arm, except me. It only came up to my shoulder. "Okay," said the man, "you're on." See what I mean about height versus age? It's a height requirement, not an age requirement. Everyone was moaning, saying it wasn't fair and saying how rubbish it was being a kid and how they wished they were grown-ups. That's what they said. In fact, they were all blatantly relieved they weren't tall enough. The man said, "You'll need someone to go on with you. It's 2 at a time or no ride." I looked at Mrs. Hayes, our teacher. She shrugged. "Are you allowed on if you're pregnant?" "No," said the man, but you could hardly hear him because everyone was so excited by the news that Mrs. Hayes was having a baby. "No one else?" said the man, and everyone looked at the responsible parent who had very kindly accompanied our group, namely, my dad. He always comes on these things because he's a taxi driver, so he can choose what hours he works. Florida Kirby kept nudging him. "Go on, Mr. Digby, go on. My dad'd do it if he was here. My dad's dead brave." She more or less shoved him past the Martian and up the ramp. The man waved us into the cage and fastened us both in. I remember Dad saying, "Has anyone ever died on this?" And the man glared at him. "No," he said. "No one has ever died on my ride." "Only asking," said Dad. Then the man shut the door of the cage, looked at us through the bars and said, "But there's always a first time." If we'd said, "Let me out," then it wouldn't have done any good because straight away this incredibly loud music started up. A dry ice fog came pouring into the cage and lights were bouncing around us. They really believed in a big build-up. Dad gripped my hand and shouted, "Don't be scared, Liam." Before I could say I'm not scared, something went bang and we were rocketing through the air. There's a horrible crushing feeling like a big fist squeezing you into a ball. Then at the top it just lets go of you and you feel lighter than air and not scared of anything at all, as though all the fear had been squeezed out of you. The second bounce was nearly as high as the first, but it wasn't even a bit frightening. We sat there, the two of us, laughing madly while we waited for the elastic to calm down. We bounced 5 more times. When we got off, I was tingling all over and everything around me looked sort of more in focus than usual. Everything was crisper and brighter. The boys were hanging around the wooden marsh and shouting and yelling and cheering. The girls were still hanging around Mrs. Hayes, asking her about the baby. I realised we'd only been up there about 2 minutes. Florida Kirby said, "Are you going to be sick?" "No." "Julie Johnson was sick on the ghost train." She seemed to think that if I knew this, I might agree to being sick, just to fit in. Florida Kirby is obsessed with 2 things: celebrities and being sick. Give her a sick celebrity, she's in heaven. I said, "That was golden. Can we do it again?" Dad said, "Not with me, you can't." "But, Liam, what you've just had was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Now you've had it." He went off to play on the hooker duck. Wayne Ogunjiji was with him, and the 2 of them got into the profound conversation about Liverpool's defence. Dad said they were weak at the back. Wayne said they were solid at the back, but they couldn't really distribute properly. Every now and then I see the cage of the Cosmic shoot up over the tops of the other eyes, twisting and turning like a moonshot from a cannon. And part of me thought, I've done that. And the rest of me thought, I've got to do it again. When it was time to leave, Mrs. Hayes marched us off to the special exit they've got just for school parties. I carried on watching for one last glimpse of the Cosmic. I must have drifted a bit out of the line, because when I tried to walk through the gate, the security man said, "Could you stand aside a moment, sir?" I stood aside and watched everyone else leave. When Dad went by, he was so busy mentally managing Liverpool Football Club with Wayne, he didn't even glance at me. As soon as Dad had gone through, the security guard closed the door and said to me, "Main exit's over there, mate. This is school kids only." He thought I was a grown-up. People always think I'm older than I am, but no one had taken me for an actual grown-up before. I could have said, "I am a school kid. Please let me out." Or I could have said nothing and seized the opportunity to have another go on the Cosmic. So I did have 2 options, but somehow in my head they dwindled down to 1. I went straight back to the Cosmic. Tomorrow we'll find out what happens as a result of the decision Liam has just made.